Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm the most vile, contemptible, and evil individual the devil ever put on this earth.
Well, damn. And I am former hog farmer, Marc Cantebury.
Jeez.
Welcome to episode 310, WWF Monday Night RAW.
Raw!
Is it war?
Not yet. Not until 8 o'clock.
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
I mean, we'll see how we feel about it at the end of this, but there's been plenty of times where Raw is war is good for nothing. Hopefully that won't be the case this evening.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of times where you want to change the channel, but then there's plenty of times where you don't want to miss a thing.
So this is the 266th episode of Raw, produced by WWF. It would take place on June 29th, 1998, from the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, with an attendance of 20,000 people.
Holy fuck balls. That's a lot of Clevelandites.
And a TV rating of 5.4.
Nice.
By comparison, Nitro had a 4.1 this evening.
Yeah, and the Gund Arena, I know that's a famous old wrestling building. Or a famous just building in general.
Famous building in general,
yeah.
But we are in Cleveland, Ohio.
We are.
So Shane, did you do what you do?
Tell me this isn't called the Cleveland Steamer.
No, this is not the Cleveland Steamer.
It doesn't taste like it.
Yes, I did what I do in the sense that I had an idea and then I did not fully commit to it because I had a brain fart midway through and stores were not as cooperative as they have been in the past, thanks to, I don't know why, transportation reasons, import reasons, who knows. The world's a crazy place right now.
Supply chain.
Tariffs.
There we go. That's the word. But yes, I did what I do in the sense that I jumped on the old interwebs and typed in, what the hell do people in Cleveland eat, drink? What do they like to have for desserts? What are some popular cocktails in the area? And yeah, I went for cocktails this time. And I stumbled upon, because I typed in popular Cleveland drinks, and the first thing that popped up was one called the 1803, which is, it's supposed to be a little different in color than what it's in front of us, because there's supposed to be some strawberries that are in it that you muddle. It also has some vodka, some dried vermouth, some tart terry juice, some simple syrup, balsamic vinegar, and then it's garnished typically with a slice of strawberry or an orange rind in the shape of Ohio, as it stays on here.
Tart terry juice is what Mr. Funk calls his blood.
Is it?
No, you just said tart terry instead of cherry.
My bad.
At least that's what it sounded like over here.
Tart cherry juice. But yeah, it's I'm missing the strawberries because after going to 3 different grocery stores, 2 of them not having strawberries, the last one that had strawberries had them that looked like they'd been sitting out for about 7 or 8 weeks. So I'm used to seeing strawberries in the package like filled to the top and big and full and juicy and whatnot. And these ones had like an inch missing from the top of the container, and they had already started to shrivel up, and they were starting to get a little darker than they were red. And
it's not strawberry season.
I mean, it's not, but I bought strawberries 2 weeks ago.
That's a good point.
They were just perfectly fine.
Good point. I mean, I had some, I never know how to say it, Anamara, the cocktail cherries. So this is double cherried up because I was like, well,
I put
it's close. It's red like a strawberry.
I put a couple little orange peels in there. I put the little cocktail cherries that you have, and then I put just a little bit more simple syrup in there just to sweeten it up a little bit more to counteract the balsamic vinegar. Typically, I've had drinks before that have strawberries and balsamic in there, and they pair perfectly with each other. So this one doesn't taste the way that it should, but it's not terrible. It's not. I wouldn't even describe it as bad. It's just not what it's supposed to be.
I think it tastes good. My biggest complaint would be that it doesn't taste like alcohol.
No, it does not.
But you can taste the balsamic and the cherry.
There's 2 ounces of alcohol in there, and 3 ounces of juice. So
1 ounce vermouth, 1 ounce vodka.
2 ounce vodka. But yeah, as it states on here, cheers to you, Ohio. The 1803 is the first in our series of Ohio-themed cocktails from this website, ohlq.com. I'm assuming that stands for Ohio Liquor.
Yeah. Just have a bunch of recipes that help you in the future.
But explanations for that, 1803 was when Ohio officially became a state. 1803 is also the first time that the drink or any drink was referred to as a cocktail. The history of it was anything that, where is it at? Traditionally, cocktail ingredients include spirits, sugar, water, and bitters. But 1803, the Farmers' Cabinet in the United States had officially written about something called a cocktail for the first time. The 1803, I'm going to have to make one time just with the actual muddled berries in there just to see what flavor it fully gives it, because the strawberry basil martini that I had years ago from Wolfgang Puck that also was made with balsamic vinegar was delightful. So I'm not mad about this though.
No, it's definitely a fall or winter drink as opposed to a summer drink.
Cherry juice is good for you. It's good for the kidneys and the bladder and all that stuff.
Antioxidant.
Yeah.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as this Raw. The only film that would hit theaters the next weekend.
Only.
Because it was that big. It was meteor big. Armageddon.
Dun, dun, dun. I mean, that song, you couldn't escape it.
No. Stay awake just to, never mind.
But, we all saw this movie. We all couldn't escape the song. It was a huge hit. And,
I remember sitting in the theaters watching this movie, and this big dude sitting next to me at the theater just bawling his eyes out.
Really?
Yep.
That's funny.
I almost wanted to reach over and grab his hand. Just,
it's all right, buddy.
I got you. But yeah, we've talked about Armageddon in the past when we were talking about Deep Impact, and Armageddon definitely had a deeper impact.
Oh yeah.
In the theaters, in everybody's memories.
I mean, it was only the highest grossing film of 1998.
Highest grossing in the theaters. It had a great run in video. It won a bunch of different awards for the soundtrack.
I imagine it did not do anything at the Oscars, except for maybe soundtrack.
It was nominated for Best Song.
Yeah.
It may have had some visual or sound effects or something like that.
It was nominated for 4 Oscars.
Let's hear it.
Best Sound, Best Effects, Sound Effects, Best Effects, Visual Effects, and Best Music Original Song.
Yep.
Diane Warren has to have her one song in almost every Oscars.
But the song at this point, I think, is more memorable than the movie. And I saw the movie a bunch of times, but I can't remember the last time I watched it.
I don't know. It just came out in 2032. We may have an asteroid hit us, and my first thought was, so we're training people to go and drill a hole in this thing, right?
Nope. They probably already got rid of that department that would have made that decision.
That's probably true.
Fun that the blue collar of Armageddon. We're we need professional oil drillers.
That's right.
Actually, I just read this that NASA shows this film to during their management training program, and the new managers are given the task of trying to spot how many errors are in the movie.
Oh shit!
Yeah, nothing but errors.
At least 168 have been found.
It's every decision made.
Every decision made.
So if a new manager finds at least 168, does that mean that they get the job, or do they only get it if they find one extra?
Who knows?
I mean, this is a Michael Bay, right?
Yep.
It has,
Yep.
And boy, is it a Michael Bay movie.
It is definitely a Michael Bay movie. Big explosions.
No highway scene though. Michael Bay is kind of famous for always having a highway action scene.
Okay. I was confused.
No, I mean obviously not. You can't do it in every movie, but it's a thing he likes to do.
The space highway, the
highway in the sky,
the walkway, whatever it is, to the shuttle itself.
But Bad Boys. There's especially in Bad Boys 2, I believe it is, where they're doing crazy highway scene where they're like running over cadavers filled with like ecstasy and stuff. Definitely one in The Island, a movie that nobody talks about.
There's a few through the Transformers movies.
Oh yeah, I only ever saw the first Transformer movie, but yeah, that's tailor made for highway scenes. They're robot cars that are also aliens.
They're more than meets the eye.
I know.
Let's see. I think we've pretty talked about the cast before, but I mean, Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck, Billy Bob Thornton, Steve Buscemi, Owen Wilson, Peter Stormare, Michael Clarke, Duncan. Who else we got on here? A couple people formerly from soap operas, William Fichtner and Grayson McCouch, formerly of As the World Turns. Eddie Griffin.
Who plays the president? Is there a famous guy that plays the president? I always love that in these kind of movies.
Let's find out.
Oh, is that Peter David or Keith David is in this?
Keith David's a general.
Yeah, I love Keith David.
Eddie Griffin's a bike messenger.
Stanley Anderson, president.
I do not know who that is.
Let me find your picture so I can see if I recognize you.
He's in RoboCop 3. How do you not know who Stanley Anderson is?
Is he a black gentleman?
No.
Okay. RoboCop 3 is the least...
I know.
I've watched it way less than RoboCop. RoboCop is one of my favorite movies. I've seen RoboCop 2 a lot, despite all of its flaws, but 3... And then went PG-13, you know.
Shawnee Smith.
He was the president in The Rock, too.
Oh, wow.
So he got typecast by Michael Bay.
Michael Bay was like, you know what?
I like in the same...
Or The Rock and Armageddon are in the same universe.
Oh, everything is just now changed.
I'd like to believe that everything Michael Bay has made all exists in the Michael Bay-averse.
Shawnee
so
Smith
why didn't they just get the Transformers to go up and take care of that?
Well, because that's further into the future. I mean, I don't know what...
This was pre-Transformers, remember? They hadn't been discovered yet.
It doesn't say what year they were discovered.
I don't know. I know almost nothing about the Transformers. Soundwave, Starscream, Optimus Prime. I think that's the only... Bumblebee. I think those are the only ones I know.
Megatron?
Oh, Megatron. What's the one that...
Unicron?
Yeah, that's the planet one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Orwell. He does the voice in the movie. I've seen the animated.
Yeah, the animated movie. Transformers is great.
Yeah. See, I grew up on the
Transformers 1 was great.
Movie.
Oh yeah. You told me that. I've seen the animated Transformers movie. I like it when they dance in the junkyard to Weird Al. But it's also the best Weird Al song in general. So.
Armageddon. I'm gonna have to watch it again sometime here soon. It's been a long time.
Well, let's talk some Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, yo.
WWF Attitude Package before still photos from King of the Ring, where we get some of the commentary from the previous night over those photos, seeing Kane win the WWF Championship, before we get the opening package, followed by Pyro and Jim Ross welcoming everyone to the show, joined by Jerry the King Lawler on commentary. And Vince McMahon, Commissioner Slaughter, and Gerald Briscoe make their way to the ring.
Boo.
With JR mentioning that Pat Patterson is not there due to a loss. His partner Louie, who, if you know anything about Pat Patterson, been with him for a very long time. His partner Louie had actually passed away from a heart attack the night before while King of the Ring was happening, which is kind of sad.
Damn.
It's a huge bummer.
Vince takes the mic to taunt the crowd about how Austin is no longer the champ.
But JR, before that happens, lets us know that Austin is in the building.
Vince mentions that Kane does not utter profanities and salutes the flag.
Does he?
That he's a new role model and champion for the 21st century.
Yeah, an evil, half-burned man that's willing to set himself on fire.
The Big Red Machine and Paul Bearer then make their way out, with Paul says he has been there for 20 years, watching his son, the champion. Watched him dream and sit in a room with pictures of his brothers all around. But Bearer told him that he could be better and would put the Undertaker in his shadow. And McMahon takes the championship belt out of a glass cage that's been sitting in the ring and places it around the waist of Kane when Stone Cold would make his way to the ring.
How do you make the glass break sound? But, as he's trying to fasten the belt on Kane, the glass breaks and the crowd goes nuts.
Austin starts ranting about the stipulation of last night's match, saying it wasn't even the Big Red Machine who split him open. It was the Dead Man. So he wants a rematch. And Vince counters that he may not deserve it, but does say as long as Kane and Paul agree, it's fine with him. And Bear quivers about and finally agrees before turning to the Big Red Machine, where Stone Cold mentions that Kane is no longer under the shadow of Taker, getting him riled up by saying that the Big Red Machine didn't beat him fair and square. He had to have his brother's help, wondering if he could live with it. So Austin asks one more time for the rematch, and Kane nods.
Uh-oh.
Which makes McMahon livid. We then get more highlights along with the opening package from King of the Ring as an ad for the Encore.
I mean, beautiful opening. Vince McMahon just nailing it. When he says Kane, it's that deep Vince McMahon growl. Kane! Yeah, so good. He's got silly shoes on. They're very Elaine Venis-esque. I don't know what you call those, but yeah, like patent leather, like white and black shoes. And he obviously wore those just so Austin could make fun of him for it. Yeah, everybody's firing on all cylinders here. And so is the crowd, by the way.
So we go to our first match. Darren Drozdov versus Steven Regal.
What?
And after Droz makes his way to the ring, Sable comes out and enters the ring as well, taking the mic to introduce the newest superstar. And the last time we saw Steven was at World War III, 1997, episode 282.
And Sable was trying to do the Sunny role here. And
She is not good.
failing so poorly.
Sable has, she...
Has the charisma of a dog turd.
So I was thinking, she spent all that money on boobs and plastic surgery and all that stuff, but she did nothing to fix what's inside.
Well, she doesn't want to be here.
Hey,
Sunny wanted to be here.
True.
Sunny liked wrestling.
Very true.
Sable also joins the commentary booth for the match as our competitors exchange holds to begin. When JR asks about how she's back in the WWF, but she can't comment on that. And Droz takes Regal down, only for Steven to fire back, hammering away with shots in a corner and knees to the head for a 2 count. Headlocks and takedowns traded between the two when Darren nails a clothesline, right hands, and a suplex. Droz heads up top, but Steven meets him with a shot in the gut, joining him on the turnbuckle for a super double underhook suplex,
Damn.
followed by the Regal stretch for the submission. And the win.
Oh, it was quick and the right man won.
For sure, but
Absolutely.
I just wish there was a little more fanfare for our good friend Steven Regal.
Well, I mean,
Is
you
he...
can blame Vince and you can blame Sable, but
I mean, that's the reason they sent Sable out there is to
hope
help him get a pop.
and she
But
was
it-
incapable of it.
No.
Didn't matter. We then see marvelous Marc Mero warming up in the back as we head to commercial.
And you know what he's getting ready for.
I do.
Yeah.
They already told us.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, as soon as it was announced, my eyebrows went up and then dropped at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, here we are.
But we're going to tease it and wait till we get to that match.
Yup.
Ken Shamrock then makes his way out to the ring to join Michael Cole, where he gives credit where credit's due. And The Rock showed him something. They did battle one-on-one, and Rocky is a true champion and a true warrior. Owen Hart then makes his way out, wanting to be spared the sugar-coated garbage. I was like, hey, that's your teammate that he's talking about. He's talking nice about him. I'm like, before saying he has been a king of the ring as well. So tonight, he wants Shamrock to step into his court, finding out why he is the Blackheart. Ken talks about walking the walk, remembering that Owen broke his ankle, so Hart has pain to look forward to. Triple H and Chyna then come out, stating if they're going to have a match to determine the King of Kings, then he needs to be there as well for a 3-way dance.
He was last year's King of the Ring.
Yep. And Ken I don't know if Ken forgot what he was saying or if he's just purposely using their full names, old names, all that stuff. But yeah, he went full on Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Rocky Maivia in his addressing the two of them. So.
He could be saying it to dress them down.
Yeah.
Since they have these new, bigger personas.
I mean, Ken does just ramble at times.
He's not the best promo, but he's so much more effective when he says nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
just give me the crazy eyes.
I feel like Ken would have been helped by a manager completely that could talk.
Yeah.
Ken could have been a Paul Heyman guy, but
yeah,
he wasn't there yet. He could have been a Cornette guy.
Literally, the first thought I had was he'd be a great Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Ken does finally agree to the match. If they got the time, he's got the place. As we go to commercial. And we come back live with Steve Blackman warming up in the back, followed by Ross going over the rules for the Brawl For All tournament.
Ooh.
3 1-minute rounds. There's a point system for most punches per round, takedowns, and knockdowns, while a knockout will end the brawl. So we go to our second match. Marvelous Marc Mero versus Steve Blackman in a first-round matchup in the Brawl For All tournament.
So we're shooting, brother, and they even have like the I don't know what you call it, but like the ring set up like a boxing match where it has like the weird vertical bands on the
to keep
ropes.
Them from falling through. Yeah. The referee is Danny Hodge, who is inducted into the International Professional Wrestling, the NWA, Professional Wrestling, and Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fames. He's also from Perry, Oklahoma. Went to the University of Oklahoma, and the Heisman Trophy, air quotes, of college wrestling is named after him. So he was a very prominent amateur wrestler. And we get going in the first round. Blackman immediately takes down Marc.
And I don't know if you guys heard this, but most punches per round is 5 points. Takedowns are 5 points.
Per
10.
No, that's 5 points per
takedown. So it's like, why would anybody throw punches when takedowns are 5 points per, and then knockdowns are 10 points, which is basically like like a ref count, knockdown.
And once they get taken down, they just have to get back up. They've scored the points, but they have to get back to their feet.
Yeah.
And once they get back to their feet, Blackman just takes Marc down again. And then back to the feet, and they begin exchanging strikes.
And guess what happens?
Only for Steve to tie up Mero to prevent him from gaining control. And with just seconds left, Blackman takes Marc down again before the men retreat to their corners to regroup. And we see an unofficial scorecard that shows Steve up by 25 points.
Yeah.
Because I guess it was 5 takedowns altogether.
I love that the announcer's realizing that this isn't going to work in real time, and JR was like,
has to keep selling it like it's a great idea.
Yeah, like the fans are all booing, but he's like, guys, there's nothing we can compare this to. Like it's like we've
never done anything like this in the history.
Yeah, the crowd's growing restless because they have no clue what they're watching. Because it's not wrestling, it's not boxing.
It's not even MMA because every time they get taken to the mat, they have to get back up. They they have to separate and get back up.
Yeah. So the second round starts, Blackman's throwing punches, and he gets another takedown, followed by doing it again. But Mero nails a big right hand, only for Steve to come right back with another takedown.
Steve read the rules.
Yep.
And the crowd starts chanting, "We want wrestling," as the men get a breather in their corners.
I mean, if only a WWF crowd still felt the same way.
Yeah. And the third round begins, and it's just a repeat of the other two, with both Blackmen getting several takedowns, while Marc tries for the knockout blow to no avail.
Yeah, we got an official scorecard after the first round was over, but that was the last time we saw a scorecard.
It was unnecessary at that point because we all know Marc Mero is not taking him down.
No, they immediately kept saying he needs a knockout to win. Yeah. He needs a knockout to win.
He may have used a box in his life, but that's not how you win here.
No.
So the winner by decision is Steve Blackman, but unfortunately he would be injured in training for his next match. So Mero would compete in his place in the second round.
As if this wasn't cursed from the first 30 seconds. Yeah.
we can just talk about the Brawl for All right now.
We all. I mean, if
basically,
you know what it is.
Every person that's in this tournament was given. It was their decision if they wanted to, but basically Russo had all these like big meaty guys that didn't really have anything for them to do, and so he came up with this idea and was like, "Hey, you want to do this? You want to do this? Cool." And so they put it together, thinking that it would be a showcase for a certain someone who we'll talk about later on in the tournament.
Yeah.
Not tonight. That's basically what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And, bummer for Steve Blackman because, I mean, apparently he's always the guy that gets hurt or sick or something at the wrong time because he was supposed to have been brought in years ago for something and, was fighting for his life after a viral infection or something like that kept him away for all that time.
But I also thought it was funny that the last Raw that we watched, we had Steve Blackman versus Marc Mero in the first round of the King of the Ring tournament.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yep.
I didn't even think about that.
And even though like Blackman, it's like maybe things didn't pan out, but he doesn't have the it factor that like Ahmed Johnson
no.
did.
He has the physique for sure.
Yeah.
Like in 1998, Steve Blackman looks like what guys today are trying to make themselves look like. With the big quads and the perfect tone body and jacked from. I mean, forget Blackman. He's Steve Jackman in this case.
Believably jacked.
Yeah.
Not juice jacked.
Yes. So he was ahead of the game in that sense, but because I just kept watching because I'm the gay man watching this match back, and Steve Blackman is dressed all kinds of nicely. So
he's a good looking guy.
Yep.
We go to Kevin Kelly outside of Kane's locker room, where he says he's just received word that the Big Red Machine will tell us in his own words why he accepted Austin's challenge as we head to commercial. Skittles Slam of the Week. It's from last night's pay-per-view where Mark Henry and Vader brawled at ringside, distracting the ref, allowing Chyna to nail a DDT to Owen Hart inside the ring.
Skittles was probably like, not the cage toss.
Yeah.
Not the one through the cage or off the cage. We're selling candy.
And we come back from break, and Kevin's now inside the locker room with Kane, Mankind, and Paul Bearer, asking why he granted the rematch. And the Big Red Machine speaks through his electrolarynx device, saying it's because he knows he can win again. And he's a greater champion than his brother ever was. We then go to the parking lot, where we see Undertaker making his way into the building. Thanks for showing up, dead man. You're only 30 minutes late.
He had to make a big entrance. He's been just, smoking in the parking lot.
So we go to our third match. Dick Togo with Yamaguchi-san versus Val Venis.
Uh-oh.
And Val makes his way to the ring and grabbing a chair, chasing after Yamaguchi-san, when he notices a young Japanese woman in the crowd, which JR mentions is the manager's wife.
Did pretty good for himself.
No, I'd say so.
Mm-hmm.
Venis makes his way into the ring to do his spiel with a baseball double entendre. When Togo attacks, only for Val to hammer away with right hands and corner clotheslines for a 2 count. Dustin Runnels is then shown making his way to the commentary table, as Venis misses an elbow drop.
This is Dustin. He's not Gold Dust.
No.
He's dressed.
He's not even Dustin Rhodes.
No.
He's just Dustin Runnels.
He's just dressed like you'd imagine he dresses in real life. There's a thing that I want to ask you guys about, but JR tells us on commentary about foot brawl. You guys know what foot brawl is?
I guess it has
No clue.
something to do with football. But...
I mean, my assumption is that it might have been them testing out the XFL earlier, and he's just asked to sell the idea.
I'm going to guess it's something a little cornier than that. Something to do with 4th of July.
I don't think it's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that he said anything about it being a live on TV thing, but just selling an event called that, maybe in town or just somewhere. I have no idea, but it stood out because I was just like, what?
I'm looking. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to look it up. I just figured I'd, ask.
Dick with chops, followed by a reversed whip to send Togo to a corner, where he leaps up the ropes to fly off with a somersault senton onto Val for a near fall. Runnels is trying to spread the word of God as Dick delivers a body slam and moonsault for a 2 count, followed by Venis fighting back with a back elbow and an elbow drop, only to telegraph a back body drop, so Togo takes advantage with a dropkick.
Foot brawl. Foxborough Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts, Saturday, August 8th, 1998. The event has been canceled without any rescheduled date. So apparently it's a show they were planning.
It's just a thing that didn't happen.
Steve Austin versus Undertaker versus Kane for a triple threat match for the WWF Heavyweight Championship. Triple H and X-Pac versus The Rock and Owen Hart in a cage match. Terry Funk versus Mankind in a Falls Count Anywhere in the Stadium match. Vader versus Mark Henry in a no DQ.
So it's a football, like a college football stadium brawl, like pay-per-view.
Stadium Stampede.
Stadium house show is what it sounds like.
New Age Outlaws versus Southern Justice with Tennessee Lee. Ken Shamrock versus Double J with Tennessee Lee. Farouk versus Marc Mero with Jacqueline. LOD 2000 versus DOA. And Sable versus Jacqueline in an arm wrestling match.
I'm sorry for bringing it up, guys, but it just spiked my interest, and you found an answer.
Yeah.
So what did Val Venis do?
Dick continues with a DDT for a near fall before going up top, where he flies off, but Val catches and power slams Togo down, followed by going to the turnbuckles, only for Dick to grab his leg, so Venis drops down to hit a double underhook suplex and a body slam. Val goes back up to nail the money shot for the pin and the win. Post-match, Venis goes over to the front row and begins thrusting his hips at Yamaguchi-san's wife, where she looks disgusted as her husband comes over to confront Val and slap him. Venis then shoves Yamaguchi-san down, only for the rest of Kai to come out to attack from behind. Val grabs the chair from earlier, delivering shots to each member of the group to lay them out.
All unprotected headshots, by the way. Each one of them ate one straight to their cranium.
He's going to get an unprotected something shot at some point. So
yeah, something's going to be
trimmed.
Choppy.
Edge is shown hanging out in the crowd.
Hey, Sting's not doing it anymore. Somebody's got to.
Yeah, I was thinking more Raven. Because at least Sting mattered when that happened. Raven didn't matter when that happened. I mean, a little bit because of ECW, but the general audience.
People at least knew who he was.
Yeah.
We then see Austin lacing up his boots in the back as we head to commercial. And we come back to Michael Cole with Stone Cold, asking how confident is he tonight. With Austin reiterating that he didn't feel like he lost last night, as it was Undertaker who busted him open before kicking Cole out of the locker room. We then go to our fourth match. Triple H with Chyna versus Owen Hart versus Ken Shamrock in a King of Kings match.
Hour 2, start of Warzone.
And as Hart makes his way to the ring, Ken charges out to attack Owen, beating him down as Hunter just chills inside the ring.
Can you blame him?
Yep.
And they finally make it in with Triple H continuing the punishment of Hart with strikes and a jumping knee, and he goes for a cover, only for Shamrock to break it up. Ken then works over Hunter with strikes and a knee lift, followed by Owen charging in with a clothesline to Shamrock. Hart with knee drops and stomps, and he begins to work the ankle, but Triple H rejoins the fight with an eye rake and rabbit punches to Owen before a vertical suplex and a running knee drop.
I really didn't appreciate the Owen sucks chance, but, that's just personal.
Ken returns to slam and elbow drop Hunter, followed by Hart hitting an elbow drop on Triple H as well, when Shamrock would nail a knee lift to Owen, allowing him to make a cover on Hunter for a 2 count.
This is good.
Yes. 3 Kings.
Yeah, but
Better be good.
I mean, Shamrock doesn't have the most experience, and this is a triple threat match, which easily falls apart, and everybody's in the right place at the right time.
Owen goes to a camel clutch on Triple H, which Ken doesn't like, so he just tosses Owen out to the floor. But Hunter's able to go on the offensive now, knocking Shamrock around and hitting a high knee for a near fall. Hart runs back in to drop kick Triple H before nailing a pile driver and making a cover.
Damn.
Only for Ken to make the save and snap suplexing Owen. Shamrock keeps up the attack by stomping on both men, but a low kick by Hart allows him to hit a German suplex, which Hunter breaks up as we head to commercial. When we return, Triple H with an inverted atomic drop to Owen before stomping on Ken in a corner, while Ross shows us footage from the break where our competitors did a triple sleeper hold.
I wish they wouldn't have shown it. It makes sense for the comedy spot during the commercial, but took a little bit away from a match that I was really enjoying.
Which Hart breaks up by hitting a jawbreaker. Now back to live, Hunter rams Shamrock's ankle across the apron and rolls him into the ring, where Owen applies a Boston Crab. Triple H elbows him in the back of the head to break that up. Hunter and Hart then trade strikes before Owen returns to assaulting Ken, only for Triple H to rake the eyes once more.
Son of a bitch.
So he can attack Shamrock. But Hart retaliates by going to the top for a missile dropkick on Hunter and locking in a sharpshooter on Ken. Triple H breaks that up by just shoving Owen to the floor.
Not even a DDT? Not a callback?
Followed by a facebuster to Shamrock. He sets up for the pedigree, only for Hart to return with a spinning heel kick and a DDT to Hunter.
Attaboy.
I mean, it looked very nice.
Ken's back to his feet and he trades strikes with Owen until they bump heads, sending Hart stumbling into Triple H as well to leave all three men down. Shamrock and Owen are back up first with Ken nailing a big kick and a leg lariat for a 2 count before Hunter charges in. Shamrock power slams him down. Ken delivers a hurricanrana to Hart, followed by applying the ankle lock, only for Triple H to break it up, whipping Shamrock to the ropes, but it's reversed. So Ken goes for another Rana, which is countered into a powerbomb by Hunter for a near fall. Owen knocks Triple H out to the floor with an enziguri and a baseball slide before running the ropes to attack Shamrock, only for Chyna to low bridge them, causing Hart to fall out to the floor. And Owen starts jawing with Chyna, so the ref makes his way out to stop him from hitting her, allowing Ken to take out Hart from behind. And Hunter's making his way back into the ring when The Rock runs down and smashes the Intercontinental title across Triple H's head, knocking him out in the middle of the squared circle. Shamrock and Owen trade strikes on the apron when Ken uses the ropes to send Hart falling into the guardrail, allowing him to make the cover on Hunter for the pin and the win. Post-match, Owen returns to the ring to attack Shamrock, while DX comes out to assault Rocky on the stage, followed by the Nation coming out to protect their leader. Ken hits a drop kick to Hart to send him to the floor, but he gets tripped up and locked in a figure 4 around the ring post, followed by wrapping the ankle around the post as well.
He's broken his ankle before. He's going to do it again.
That one's a whole lot of fun. I mean, the right man won, even if it doesn't pan out. But there was no reason for Shamrock to lose that. And I'm glad he didn't.
JR and the King start talking about The Undertaker when the bell tolls.
Uh-oh.
Boom.
And the dead man makes his way to the ring as we go to break. And we come back to Michael Cole having joined Taker, asking him why he interfered last night. The Undertaker responding, he owes no one anything, but he will tell us why. He didn't want to see his brother set himself on fire, so he did what he had to do.
What a guy.
I've already seen that show.
Mr. McMahon comes out to the stage area with a mic, calling the dead man a compassionate person, but he thinks the real reason is because Taker believes he can beat his brother and not Austin for the title.
Damn. So good. So good. Why is he so good at this?
Vince continues that Undertaker is a vile and contemptible human, and hell hath no fury if the dead man interferes in tonight's title match as we go to commercial. Time for the JVC kaboom of the week.
What could it be?
Probably Mankind being thrown off the cell into the Spanish announce table.
JVC's not selling candy. It makes more sense.
Yeah, and we're going to have to save this as the Kaboom of the Year because it's going to be a little bit before anything matches
Kaboom
that.
of the last 27 years.
Yeah, it's like there might be spots that like were...
I know years later they tried to recreate the moment, but it just wasn't the same.
But yeah, people do crazy spots all the time, but a lot of the times they didn't earn the moment with years of like brutal matches and storyline against each other. They're going for the wow factor as opposed, but they didn't build to it. They didn't matter enough to the people in the building for something like that to be as impactful or lasting, or even like Mankind doesn't have that Hell in a Cell match. Does he ever get the WWF title belt? No, absolutely not.
I don't see that happening.
He still would have been a beloved guy, but that cemented.
That standing ovation that he got as he walked out is what changed the mind of Vince.
Yep.
Yeah, and fans already behind him, but that's when people decided that they needed and wanted to see that thing on him, just as a show of respect.
Mm-hmm.
We're back from commercial to see Bradshaw warming up with a punching bag in the back, followed by Marc Cantebury getting wrapped up. We then see highlights from the other Brawl For All match from earlier.
Excuse me? Highlights?
Hey, they just wanted to show Steve Blackman,
Blackman
shorts
took
again.
down Marc Mero 17 times.
Yeah. I mean, it was a highlight for Blackman.
Someone.
Pretty much an annihilation.
Yeah, it was good for him.
So we get our fifth match, Marc Cantebury versus Bradshaw in a first round match in the Brawl For All tournament. The first round begins, and the two men just start wailing away on each other.
I mean, I just want to point this out. I love the Hank Williams Jr. shirt on Marc Cantebury. Also, he's a Godwin. That's Henry Godwin.
Yeah, well, they made sure they said it a few times. Formerly known as Henry Godwin, no longer a Godwin, the former hog farmer, now a member of Southern Justice.
Mm-hmm. That was all a joke. His last name's Cantebury.
Yeah.
They're swinging wildly when Cantebury goes for a takedown, but he's unable to get Bradshaw down.
I mean, these guys, this is more exciting already because it's all fists and they're both landing them, but...
This is more than we've seen of the former hog farmer the entire time he's been in the WWF.
And the crowd still isn't crazy about this tournament as we see the unofficial scorecard of Bradshaw leading by 5 points because he threw more punches.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that this was more fun than the previous one at this point, but you're not changing the fans' minds.
No.
Second round starts with Bradshaw just mauling Marc with right hands until Cantebury ducks down to go for a takedown, but he's still unable to get the former Blackjack off his feet. And the ref gets them separated from the corner, and they throw a few more punches when the bell rings.
That's why there was BJ on the back of his trunks. Okay.
Yeah, but
I was like Bradshaw, maybe they've got JBL and they're doing it backwards. Yeah, I totally forgot about the whole Blackjack angle.
Yeah, JBL's bleeding from the mouth a little bit as a boring chant goes on. So sad to see these guys actually throwing punches and just getting booed.
Final round begins where Marc finally gets Bradshaw down with a takedown. But once they return to their feet, the Blackjack grabs hold of Cantebury as he shoots in and just drags him down to the mat. And the ref gets them back to their feet, where Bradshaw throws several right hands before the bell rings.
JBL yells out an audible "shit," thinking that he just lost.
But the winner by decision is Bradshaw.
Yep.
We go to Kevin Kelly in the back, hoping to talk to The Undertaker as we go to break. And we come back to see Edge is still hanging out in the crowd.
Creepy.
Now
All I see is a girl holding a sign that says "I will suck it," right behind him.
She probably would.
I mean, she said it.
Probably did.
She wrote it down. She put it in ink.
Back in the arena, LOD 2000 makes their way to the ring,
Without Sonny.
with Lawler wondering where Sonny is, only for JR to say she was under the weather.
Uh-oh.
Truth is, she would be released very soon, as she was having backstage problems with
Everybody.
another female. I'm sure you can figure out who it is. And no showing events.
She's not allowed to talk about it, though.
And no showing events due to some... So we won't see her in WWF for about 10 years.
In wrestling, we call this demons.
Yeah.
She's just struggling with some demons.
So Animal grabs the mic to say they have a surprise for the Cleveland crowd. Precious Paul Ellering.
Woo!
And Hawk talks about how Paul had helped them get to the top.
Well,
But they had been going through some tough times, so he's happy that their mentor is back. And Ellering takes the mic when the disciples of Apocalypse arrive on their bikes and get in the ring. When Paul says he would like to introduce everyone to his new team, 8-Ball and Skull, which surprises no one except for the Road Warriors,
brand new information.
who get beaten down by DOA as we go to commercial.
Hey, but we're still getting LOD chants because it's impossible not to chant for these men.
Side note, Chains at this point had also been released, and we won't see him again until 2002 in TNA.
All right.
Sorry about your damn luck.
We get another ad for the King of the Ring encore before returning to Kevin Kelly interviewing The Undertaker in the back. Kelly asks if he will heed the warning from Mr. McMahon, with the dead man saying, "No one tells me what to do," followed by just shoving Kevin as he walks off. We then go to our 6th match, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kane with Paul Bearer for the WWF Championship.
I love that as soon as he pushes Kevin out of the way, glass breaks, place goes wild. We're ready to go.
The two men trade strikes to begin when the Big Red Machine is taken down by a clothesline and multiple elbow drops. Austin goes for the stunner, only to be shoved away, with Kane retreating to the floor. But Stone Cold gives pursuit by leaping off the apron with a clothesline. Austin keeps up the attack by running the Big Red Machine into the steel steps several times, smashing his head into the guardrail before rolling Kane back into the ring.
And I love that, Austin has that prominent Band-Aid on his head, and Kane, as soon as he gets in the ring, like, as soon as they're both in there to start the match, it's like, oh, well, I gotta hit him in the head.
Yep. Target
Yeah,
practice.
as he should.
Stone Cold's met with a big right hand from the Big Red Machine to go on the offensive with stomps and chokes, until Austin reverses a whip to deliver a Thez press and rabbit punches. And Stone Cold drags Kane to the corner to wrap his leg around the ring post, followed by clipping the knee back inside the ring. Austin continues to work the legs, but he's kicked away, sending Stone Cold to the floor, where the Big Red Machine gives chase with a single sledge from the apron, throwing Austin into the ring steps and dropping him on the railing.
Austin.
They head back in where Kane batters Stone Cold with hard rights, sending him sternum first into a corner that causes Austin to collapse. And the Big Red Machine kicks Stone Cold to the floor where Bearer meets him with a shoe. So Austin begins to stagger after Paul, only for Kane to attack from behind. Back in the ring, the Big Red Machine starts to wear down his opponent with a chin lock, but the crowd fires up Stone Cold, making it back to his feet as Undertaker walks down to ringside.
Oh my gosh.
Kane hits a big boot, a body slam, and an elbow drop, before going to the top to nail a flying clothesline, followed by returning to the chinlock, which Austin again fires up to escape, only for the Big Red Machine to catch him with a chokeslam. Kane takes his time to pick up Stone Cold for the tombstone, allowing Austin to wiggle free, and he goes for the stunner, but he's shoved away to the ropes, with the Big Red Machine attempting a big boot, only for Stone Cold to duck and deliver a stunner for the pin and the win. And new! Post-match, the dead man enters the ring, but he starts jawing with Bearer on the outside, allowing Austin to nail a stunner to Taker as well, before leaving to the back with the belt held high. And both Undertaker and Kane sit up at the same time, staring down the champ as JR says his goodbyes, and we fade to black.
I mean, the crowd going absolutely bananas in that last match. The Undertaker watching on, like the perfect cinematic angle of the Undertaker watching on as Kane chokeslams Austin. It's like, all right, can you do it? Can you do it? Just wanted to point out some things.
And in this day and age, Raw on Peacock isn't a thing anymore, as Netflix has taken over Raw. So, but not all the episodes have moved over to Netflix at the time of recording.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode happened to be one that had moved over. So we were forced to find a version sailing the high seas, but that also means we got a little extra attitude.
Hell yeah.
Where we see the Dead Man and the Big Red Machine start brawling when Taker hits a chokeslam, followed by nailing Paul Bearer with a right hand on the outside as he walks away. Kane makes it back to his feet and gives chase as we fade to black once more.
Keep the fans happy. It's like, yeah, maybe this didn't air on TV, but, let those guys hit each other a couple times before we leave. As if they aren't already ecstatic that Austin just took the belt back.
As they should be.
There's more people here than with the pay-per-view.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Monday Night Raw from June 29th, 1998?
I mean, this is a great post-pay-per-view show. The three-way match was great. The Brawl For All did not matter. This show was all Stone Cold, Kane, Undertaker, and Vince McMahon, and they all did a wonderful job.
Yeah, I mean, ditto, pretty much all of that there. A good follow-up with a few non-important
Things.
Yeah, just could have been better, but at least they weren't as bad as they also could have been.
And the promos mattered and were exciting, and the crowd, was ahead of every word to the point where they accidentally booed Stone Cold in the intro promo from Vince McMahon because they were so their hearts were beating faster than the guys that were pulling the strings, which is all you can ask for.
I'm probably a little bit lower on this show than you guys are. I mean, yes, there are a couple really good matches. Those Brawl For Alls are left me going, what are we doing?
Yeah.
They're historically bad, so they're kind of interesting to see, just from at this point in time. But
So-
they're not good.
Overall, I'd say this show was average.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I thought it was the worst episode of Raw that we've ever seen.
No.
But there's definitely segments that I was kind of scratching my eyeballs out at.
But the thing that they're selling us here, they delivered on, and they kept it. They timed out all of the breadcrumbs to the end, to where unfortunately stuff in between those breadcrumbs for the most part was forgettable, but didn't outstay its welcome. But I thought this show was easily digestible.
I mean, any 2-hour episode of Raw is usually more digestible than most things we watch.
That's a very good point. Maybe I'm just happy to watch a show that's under 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I mean, anything basically involving McMahon, Austin, and Taker. Kane,
Kane's gonna Kane.
Yeah.
He does a good job in the ring, but his whole thing is that he's not the charismatic one. One of my favorite moments was after Paul Bearer attacks Stone Cold on the floor with a shoe. He grabs his chest like he's gonna have a heart attack or whatever, and it got a kick out of me. But that's just a small thing, but it looms heavy in my mind. But yeah, it's so crazy that Austin can lose the belt, win it back, but we're still mostly thinking about McMahon and Austin. And they're not even they're interacting less and less, but it still means more and more.
Each time it's a little more personal.
Yeah, they interact face to face at the beginning of this, and that might be some of the best shit on the show is that belt ceremony.
I mean, you already mentioned the Triple H Owen Shamrock match.
Yeah, that was great.
That was good and fun. The more droplets of the Kai and Tai Val Venus storyline. Yeah,
I was going to say congrats to Yamaguchi-san for his wife.
He was punching up.
I mean, it's great to see Steven Regal on here, but I don't know if this is his actual debut onto Raw or if he'd already wrestled a match or two beforehand. But it just seemed like, yeah, it wasn't what it should have been. I don't know why I'm saying that in the best, other than it was great to see him.
I mean, I expected that like Austin was maybe hurt. I didn't realize that Kane just has the belt for like less than 24 hours, and it feels like it's just setting up Kane and The Undertaker again.
I mean, basically.
But it also, it's like, oh, I really liked the Undertaker like not getting involved, just be like, can you do it? And just watching from the side, it was all wonderfully shot.
You're the champion. You got to win.
I've literally looked through twice, and I'm like, there's nothing that really just like stands out on this show. But
it's all
whenever I'm thinking that it's a pretty average show, that makes sense because like nothing usually stands out on an average show. But like I said, there's nothing that like I hated. Well, I guess that's not true. There are things that
the Brawl For All
that I hated, and there's probably more things that I disliked. So I'm just going to move on to most disappointing. Because I know you guys loved, well, I don't know if loved is the right word for the King of Kings match. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a good match overall, but and I know, Michael, you have the issue where someone gets kicked out to the ring, and so it's a one-on-one match, and then someone.
But I think they did it well here.
It was they almost did it too well.
That's a good point.
Because it was a 3-on-3,
because literally it was like, let's do what I'm gonna kick Shane, and then all of a sudden Michael comes in and kicks me, and then as soon as you kick me, then Shane's kicking Michael. It was it was this very as I was taking notes, I was just like, can we just have some sustained offense from one person for more than one move?
Yeah. I guess it's a time constraint, but my issue with a lot of the triple threat matches is when somebody gets knocked to the floor and then they're just out on the floor for 3 minutes, and that's whenever they don't do that. I appreciate.
I get that complaint.
For sure.
But it was almost a little too much for me. Like I said, I think the match overall is a good match.
Yeah.
But that was an issue I did have.
You would have liked it to be formatted a little differently instead of go, which it was.
I mean, obviously the Brawl For All matches, while they weren't good, I will give them each a little shining moment of, I already said.
Actually, now that you said, I'm like, we should give Blackman flowers for figuring out the fucking cheat code.
Yeah, the rules where it's like, oh, well, I can take guys down. I'm very good at that.
And for looking as good as he did while he did it.
He did it with no issue at all. It really made Marc Mero look like a punk.
I mean, Regal got no fanfare.
Regal got no real introduction other than Sable's.
I'll give him credit for trying.
They didn't try hard enough.
It's not good.
They didn't try hard enough considering how good Regal is.
Just wait. Wait until they do try. You'll find out. Maybe we'll get to see. But the
Mark real man.
Yes, the Mark Cantebury. This is who we should have seen from the very start. We didn't ever need a Godwin. We needed just this Southern dude to come in there and want to fight people.
He was Tex Salinger first.
That was in WCW though.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. But this is all. He also the Godwin when he came in the Godwins, they weren't doing this. It was all cartoon gimmicks.
Yeah,
for the most part. So.
But this is who, as soon as they made the switch over, they should have dropped the hog farmer thing and just made him into a hateful Southern guy that just wants to come in there and beat the shit out of people. Because this was the first time that I've ever really cared about anything that he did, and he didn't really do anything, but he got in there and he
landed a
fighting.
Few fists. Yeah, he looked like somebody that could kick somebody's ass.
Yeah, he didn't look like the guy that you want to come over and, what you got in your bucket there, buddy?
Yeah.
It was, I don't want to go near you because you might turn around and start swinging on me.
But that was the gimmick era.
Oh, boy, was it ever. Just the fact that there was so little Mick Foley coverage on this show.
They talked a little bit about it, but for all we know...
literally the only time you see him is in the back with...
Yeah.
And Kane does his interview.
Yeah, we
I guess
hear
he
him talk
was
on the mic or anything. You know, he was there, but they didn't use him.
I guess he was there, which
I'm
is
sure
a
he
big
was injured, but
yeah. My assumption was that he just wasn't there, and it's like, all right, well, who knows how long he'll be out? Who knows what his injury
he literally had this star-making performance, and maybe that's their idea is let's pull him back a little bit to make people want him more. But at the same time, it would have been nice just to give him just that little sprinkle of something extra that he didn't normally get because he did.
It also might be a
everything
thing
he did the day before.
Well, they couldn't have expected for Mick Foley to essentially become a face through adversity in that night.
They didn't expect that with Austin either when Austin 316 happened.
But they had like less than 24 hours where they're like, okay, well, what are we going to do? It's like, well, let's sit back and figure out what we're going to do as opposed to making something up out of our ass. So, but yeah, it would have been nice to see him get a little bit of flowers after that performance.
And then I don't really remember where the Dustin Runnels thing is going, but it just...
Whatever it is,
It stinks.
It's not good. It's the opposite of everything else on this attitude shit. Like, I'm all for, people believing in what they believe in, but like, there's no place for
It wasn't compelling.
for talking about Christianity in the middle of a man who's a porn star, which, I mean, I get why they put it here.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. A porn star and a guy named Dick Togo.
Yeah, it's just like that's never going to be an interesting gimmick as a guy like preaching the gospel.
No.
It's just not tailor made for
It'd
wrestling.
be one thing, and maybe they use this as a future thing down the line for right to censor. But had Dustin Runnels come down there and started the right to censor movement right there, which spoiler, he's not involved in it at all down the line, but that would have made sense. But
Also,
I don't know where they're going with it.
Just had this thought: is Val Venus a face?
Yeah.
Even though he's basically doing Rick Rude's heel gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Just because
Okay.
Just
He
because
doesn't-
it's
he doesn't call
1990.
people fat or anything. He just comes out there and, hey ladies, you
Just
want to look under
makes
my
dick
towel?
jokes.
Yeah.
Just because 1998. Well, his first big promo, he called people fat and was like just doing Rick Rude. But at this point, there are people who are just like, we like this guy because he talks about sex and this is 1998. So like, as soon as they go off air, it's Girls Gone Wild commercials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure in my head.
Yeah. It's like,
Because obviously this Dustin Runnels, I mean, you have to make that a heel character.
Yeah.
I'm like, no one's cheering for that in 1998.
no, they don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Best performer of the night.
I mean, Vince gets
I'm giving
a lot
it
of
to
praise for
Pat
his mic.
Patterson.
Okay.
R.I.P. Louis.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I mean, for on the show, like it's either Vince or Austin, I guess.
I mean, I feel like Kevin Kelly had more screen time than most of these people.
Maybe we'll let Steve Blackman have it. He's the one who figured out that damn tournament.
That's
He did.
true. That's
He
true.
did. He did. Whether we like it or not,
He changed up his gear and everything, and wrestled in short shorts just to keep me entertained.
But yeah, he obviously figured it out. It's like most punches per
I don't
round.
mind that at all.
Sure, why not? How often were we ever going to get a chance to give it to him?
Probably not. And how about most surprising? How god awful the Brawl for All thing is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, I knew it was bad. It was considered bad. But
Yeah.
how bad was it? Like, like even I was just like, what is going on?
yeah, it's just it's basically like you would have gotten more positive reaction from the crowd if somebody just took a dump in the ring.
Do the Blackman and Mero match, just that one match this week. So
Realize
people-
it stinks and then never do it again.
Well, not just that, but just to give people an idea of this is what you're in for next week instead of, hi, welcome to the show. Here's 3 of these.
Yeah, it's just we've seen it in Japanese wrestling too, where they mix the shoot and the work, and here they're not even really mixing the shoot and the work.
No.
They're just making guys that
I mean,
are
if
workers.
they had let them
shoot.
continue, like if they had made it more UFC, and instead of as soon as they get taken down, make them get back to their feet, like roll around on the fucking ground and like punch each other while you're down there.
Yeah.
Like
That would have been
it
crazy.
It would have been more compelling because it's only 1 minute rounds. Like,
What can you do in a minute?
yeah. And I mean, I know that
Especially with
they
the
did that to
takedowns.
keep it short, but like if your purpose is to just keep it short, then it's already too long.
Yeah, the first couple Blackman takedowns were actually exciting because he
Went for it.
Yeah, he like dove and jumped and flipped and all this other stuff in the process of it, and was like, okay.
There is a little bit
about
a little bit of energy coming. You can feel coming off of the guys, but like you still don't care. It's just kind of like oh shit. I don't know. There's not a lot to say about the Brawl For All.
No, thankfully.
Anything else surprising?
No,
I mean, once they named the match, it was pretty much a given that Austin was winning the. Right?
That much I knew
that much I definitely.
I mean, should we complain about Kane just being like, yeah, sure, I'll give you a rematch?
No,
I think they set it up pretty well.
Rookie mistake.
I think they set it up pretty well where he's like, I want to be better than my brother.
All he knows
I didn't do
is
it.
his pictures of his brother on his wall, and his brother won the belt but didn't actually get to have it his first time. I
don't know if I should I'm going to give you this stat. Maybe this is a surprising stat. That is Kane's only heavyweight title of his entire career.
Wow.
Yeah, because I guess he gets the world title years later, but...
He's a guy that doesn't need the belt. He's still... He's as compelling as this was at the time. He is still Undertaker 2. And kind of always will be. Even though when I was watching, that was like my cousin's favorite guy. He has one of the more striking looks in all of the Attitude Era. It's like, that guy looks fucking awesome if you're 10 years old.
Oh yeah, that was my nephew Nick. He was big into Kane. Dustin was Bret Hart fan. Nick went for Kane because of the mask.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Oh, brother.
This week the category is What's in a Name?
It's just a name, a name, a name, a name. What's in a name?
This could be fun again.
5 points for a correct answer. 3 points if we go to multiple choice. I'm going to give you the real name of a wrestler. You give me that wrestler's name. The real name is Osamu Matsuda.
Osamu Matsuda?
It'll be anybody that we watched in 1995.
I know this and I can't pull the name and I feel stupid. I'm gonna buzz for fun.
It's going for the buzz.
Hakushi.
Incorrect.
Okay.
I guess we'll go for the multiple choice.
All right.
I was just trying to make trying to keep
We'll
it
see
fun.
if the one that jumped in my head is on the list.
Last week we went to multiple choice.
So your options are El Samurai, Great Kabuki, Osamu Kido, and Riki Choshu.
Shit. El Samurai, Great Kabuki. Who was the third?
Osamu Kido.
I don't even remember who the fuck that is.
You got the same first name?
And then the last was
Riki Choshu.
Choshu. I'm gonna go for Kabuki.
That is incorrect, as it was El Samurai.
El Samurai? Well.
Win some, you lose some.
Yup.
Whoa.
Lost some.
We're at episode 310. Sounds like a good round number to do a score update.
All right.
Yeah.
So Shane, you are at 36 points.
Seems really low.
I don't know.
Michael,
At 40 something.
you are at 36 points.
Oh my god.
Well, then we're both really low.
I mean, you know, it's tough stuff. We're at 98, and he's talking about 1995. What are we supposed to do?
Remember stuff?
Go back to 1988 when I can remember more things.
I mean, I got murdered in most of those. The earlier trivias.
Next week, WCW Monday Night Nitro from July 6th, 1998. A week later with the other company.
And not a day after the pay-per-view?
No.
Surprising. It's
Not
typically
on
how
4th
it
of
goes.
July? Huh. What could happen?
What could happen? Music from this week's show is We're All Together Now by Jim Johnston. And Stone Cold won our main event, so we play Hell Frozen Over, version 3 by Jim Johnston. And if you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts at. If you're doing the YouTube thing, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications.
Share it. Tell a friend. Yeah. all those things.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
Recipes. Where are we going next? We're going
Atlanta,
to
GA.
Atlanta.
Bad Street.
it is a place.
Atlanta, GA.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to Atlanta, and I personally have still never been to Atlanta myself, so any suggestions, recommendations for food, beverages, all that stuff. What the hell do you eat when you're in Atlanta?
Chicken wings at Magic City.
Let's go. I can do some wings.
I don't even know if they have wings at Magic City, but Magic City's the
Magic
famous.
City, a place?
They definitely have Magic City. Because all the basketball players go to Magic.
Yeah, I know. I know they have Magic City. It's a famous like strip club in Atlanta.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
that's all I got. It's just a joke. Just a joke, guys.
But you can send any of those things to our email at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
I see chicken. Laters.